So I think the Carv2 is a rifle that has a lot of personality crisis, but before we discuss that, let's take a look at the gun and see kind of what makes it have these issues. Hey guys, how's it going? So I had all day to level up the Carv2, and I was up late last night playing with loadouts, and some things were just very inconsistent and got confirmed this morning. I didn't want to say something wrong. Evidently I should have said what I had in mind. So the Cavalry Lancer barrel is definitely the way to go for the Carv2 for distance. And that is because, well, we all basically found inconsistencies in what the barrels say and what they do. Shocker, right? So this is the distance setup that I've been using for the Carv2. And this is because of a very specific reason. So the rapid fire does increase fire rate. Cav Lancer does not increase vehicle damage, it instead increases bullet velocity. This combined with the agency suppressor, I ended up at 925-ish. It was 925 to 932 is what my numbers were. J got ended up, I think, 930 or something like that. So, yeah, this barrel definitely is adding bullet velocity. The strike team is adding more fire rate than the rapid fire, which I assumed. Because when somebody kills you with this gun, you'll notice that it has the M16 data applied to it right now, which kind of tells me that is what they're doing, is taking the M16 barrels and dropping them in and calling it good. That said, the match grade barrel says it increases damage. It actually does not do a dang thing that I could find, J-God could find, or anybody else could find as far as I've talked to. So there's that. Then there is the Task Force barrel. People are suggesting this because it does increase strafe speed, I guess, but even at that, people are just kind of saying, yeah, let's use that because it's supposed to be the safest one. Personally, I would say go the Cav Lancer and just roll that way for distance. Using the Axial Arms 3 because of the just mid zoom that it offers. The Sustat is a good way to go if you want variable zoom, but the ADS hit is pretty major, but if you're at a distance, it doesn't really matter. And then you have the Field Agent Grip. So the Field Agent Grip does kind of tighten up the recoil a little bit. The Speed Grip kind of tightened it up a little bit, but either way, there are still a lot of inconsistencies with the burst pattern on this rifle, which is why it's got some issues at a distance, and I think it has a personality crisis. So the 45 round drum is where we're going to go because it's a burst rifle. You don't need that many shots at a distance, hopefully. It should be more than enough to squad wipe a team with 45 rounds. Since it hits basically just like the M16 and AUG, a little less damage numbers. I think 1 or 2 less damage numbers. The reticle that I would heavily suggest using is the Precision reticle on the Axial. This is the M16 that I put it against. This is the M16 that I typically run. So the M16 is set up with the Task Force barrel. I just found, for me, it just worked the best along the board. It had the best bullet velocity increase, the only bullet velocity increase for the M16 that was actually usable. The agency silencer for, again, bullet velocity increase, the axial field grip, and the 45 round mag. So the thing between these two rifles at a distance is you'll notice that the Carv has kind of inconsistencies inside to side, is where the M16 is a lot more vertical in the way that it hits. So the M16 is a easier rifle to use, though the follow-up shots are slower. But if we take a look at the up close and personal Carv, which is, I think, how they were intending this rifle to be used, is more of a within 50 meters. The agency silencer, of course, the 20.8-inch strike team because of the fire rate increase, which is more of the rapid fire. The CQB pad because it reduces your sprint to fire time with no downside. The Serpent Rat because of the ADS speed increase in the 45 round drum. The big reason why I go CQB pad over the Raider stock is it doesn't hurt your hip fire like the Raider stock does. The Raider stock is a reduction of 40%. So basically your hip fire goes, tighter to wider with reduction. So you're getting actually a larger hip fire spread with those. The sight post on the Carv is actually pretty decent, though I would say this rifle is basically a higher skilled tier player type thing because you have to position yourself in a way that you're going to win gunfights more often than not. And the areas that I would use this in, I would just use an AK, or I would just use you know, an AMAX or something else that's fully automatic that I can really control, you know, covering fire as well as hitting my shots. But that is kind of what I have for the loadouts. But let's get into a little bit of just discussion about this rifle. So in the opening, I mentioned I think this rifle has a personality crisis, and I think the TTK values on this gun are, from what I can tell, high. Yes, if you two-burst somebody in the head, you'll get them. But you have to hit your headshots with this rifle, which, like any other rifle, you have to hit your headshots. But you're penalized so heavily for missing. You know, and the argument 3 weeks ago that I got with the AK video was the AK is just so hard, you know, to hit people, and it penalizes you so heavily when you miss. Well, this rifle is that times, I don't even know at this point. It's just one of the things where if you miss your shot, and the other guy has a Mac 10, for instance, you're screwed. Like, there's just nothing you could do about it. But, you know, at a distance, it also doesn't do well. Like, the M16 is a better option at a distance because of how it stacks rounds. Yeah, the Carv will still hit hard, but you got to hit your shots. And hitting your shots is more difficult at a distance when they're creating a triangle instead of a straight-up line. I mean, overall, I would say this rifle is not worth spending a bunch of time on. It's a cool rifle. It's interesting. It's something different. It's probably going to change over time because none of these barrel values match, so we'll update these videos when all that happens. But if you found this interesting, give this video a like. If you like me, give me a subscribe. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you around.